Google's 71% discount, a game changer for federal IT procurement. In a move that could reshape public sector IT procurement, Google has entered into a landmark agreement with the U.S. General Services Administration, GSA, offering its Workspace productivity suite to all federal agencies at discounts of up to 71%. This is less about direct monetization and more about gaining a strategic foothold in a sector long dominated by Microsoft, said Sanchit Gogia, Chief Analyst and CEO at Greyhound Research. The U.S. government is the most scrutinized technology customer in the world. Convince them, and you open doors across global public sector and regulated industries. This is not just about matching features, it's about aligning with evolving government IT policies, said Gogia. Standardized pricing undermines a key advantage of incumbent providers: their strong ties to individual agencies. This kind of discounting doesn't stay in Washington. It reaches enterprise boardrooms, Gogia remarked. That 71% figure tells CIOs globally to push harder during contract renewals and evaluations. More than half of CIOs, 53%, according to Greyhound Pulse 2025, plan to use public sector pricing disclosures to negotiate better commercial deals. One Fortune 100 firm is planning to leverage the Workspace discount to re-benchmark terms for over 120,000 Microsoft 365 licenses. The deal also underscores Google's security credibility, previously seen as a barrier for adoption in sensitive enterprise environments. With FedRAMP High certification, Google shows it can meet the strictest standards, said Gogia. Gogia echoed that sentiment, noting the difficulty of dismantling entrenched systems like Active Directory configurations and Power Platform automation. You're not flipping a switch, you're unbundling years of technical and operational decisions, he said. Still, for enterprise customers facing contract renewals, this deal provides new leverage. Google's willingness to trade margin for momentum can be used to reset expectations across the board. While Google plays the price disruptor, expect Microsoft to respond with value bundling, Gogia predicted. You'll see accelerated integration of Copilot into Teams and Microsoft 365, aimed at locking in customers with AI-enhanced workflows. As quoted in computerworld.com. Additional comments by Greyhound Research Analyst, a monumental pricing play, or a Trojan horse. This isn't just about cost savings. Google's Workspace deal with the U.S. federal government, offering up to a 71% discount, marks a pivotal shift in how the company is approaching regulated sectors. At Greyhound Research, we believe this is less about direct monetization and more about gaining a strategic foothold in a sector long dominated by Microsoft. The U.S. government is the world's most closely scrutinized technology customer. Convince them, and the domino effect across the global public sector and regulated industry markets is real. Per the Greyhound Pulse 2025 Public Sector CIO Tracker, 78% of government tech leaders now say cost is no longer the top priority. Trust, interoperability, and migration support take precedence. Our Greyhound Fieldnotes from recent federal CIO briefings confirm that Workspace is quietly being piloted in smaller departments. In some cases, these trials are framed as redundancy initiatives, a strategic hedge against Microsoft dependency. At Greyhound Research, we believe Google is playing the long game. By undercutting pricing and absorbing upfront losses, it is positioning itself not just as an alternative, but as an eventual incumbent. This move isn't about this fiscal year. It's about creating new political capital in future procurement cycles. Time for maximum impact amidst IT modernization waves. This announcement aligns with growing momentum across federal agencies to replace legacy systems and standardize IT environments. It also speaks volumes about Google's recalibrated strategy, from being the innovator with a credibility gap to becoming the pragmatic alternative with procurement fluency. This is not about feature parity, it's about policy alignment. Per the Greyhound Pulse 2025, 64% of government tech leaders believe their agencies are under pressure to adopt AI readiness frameworks before 2026 budget approvals. Greyhound Fieldnotes from advisory sessions with 2 U.S. state-level departments this quarter show that readiness for AI workloads is now cited as a primary rationale for replatforming productivity suites. In fact, both departments noted internal pressure from agency leadership to align software choices with broader AI governance and data residency goals. We at Greyhound Research believe this marks a milestone in Google's evolution, one where it no longer speaks just the language of engineers, but of policymakers and procurement officers. That pivot is foundational, and it signals Google's growing appetite to compete in sectors where Microsoft has historically been both standard and default. A negotiator's dream. the $1 signal that could reshape enterprise deals. This kind of aggressive discounting doesn't stay in the Beltway. It spills into enterprise boardrooms. The 71% figure is not a price tag. It's a message. One that tells global CIOs and procurement leaders to start pushing harder in their Microsoft renewals and Google evaluations. And let's be honest, it puts procurement departments back in the driver's seat. According to the Greyhound Pulse 2025 Enterprise Procurement Study, 53% of CIOs now plan to use public sector pricing disclosures to reset commercial deal expectations. In one notable Greyhound Fieldnote, a Fortune 100 consumer goods firm cited this federal workspace as a premise to seek additional discount and re-benchmark terms for over 120,000 Microsoft 365 seats. Another European pharma major, mid-renewal, plans to pause final sign-off and demand Copilot credits be included by default, using Google's price optics as leverage. At Greyhound Research, we believe this is Google's most powerful move yet, not for the deal itself, but for how it reframes what value looks like in enterprise software. The narrative now includes competition, and that alters the entire procurement psychology. Old habits die hard, the entrenchment challenge. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Most agencies, like most enterprises, are deeply entrenched in Microsoft's ecosystem. This isn't about flipping a switch, it's about unwinding years of AD configurations, Power Platform automations, and deeply embedded governance models. You're not just switching tools, you're rebuilding institutional memory. In the Greyhound Pulse 2025, 71% of IT decision-makers cited the biggest hurdle to switching collaboration suites as cultural inertia and retraining overheads, not cost. Our Greyhound Fieldnotes reveal that even a single unit transition can take up to 18 months to migrate from Exchange and SharePoint to Workspace. The blockers were not technical. They were human. Compliance officers worried about audit trails, end users resisting new shortcuts, and IT teams wary of unsupported macros. At Greyhound Research, we caution CIOs against viewing this discount as a turnkey solution. The real challenge is organizational habit and ecosystem lock-in, both of which Google must address with migration tooling, service partnerships, and change management support. This is a multi-year conversion, not a quarter-end win. Microsoft can't ignore this, and likely won't. While Google plays the price disruptor, Microsoft will counter with value bundling. Expect accelerated Copilot bundling across Microsoft 365 and Teams to lock in renewals with AI hooks that Google currently lacks. This also gives Microsoft a chance to redefine what premium means in productivity, turning AI into the glue, not the garnish. Greyhound Pulse 2025 data from our Productivity Suite Trends Tracker shows that 68% of enterprise buyers now evaluate AI capabilities as a core part of Suite ROI, no longer a premium bolt-on. One recent Greyhound Fieldnote from a global pharma major confirms this. Their contract renewal with Microsoft now hinges not just on seat price, but on bundled AI entitlements and OpenAI-derived features. We're also seeing Microsoft embed early Copilot wins from regulated industries, financial services, pharma, government, into sales collateral to ward off Workspace adoption. At Greyhound Research, we believe this moment will catalyze deeper price-performance recalibrations at Microsoft. It's not just about defending share. It's about redefining retention with AI, integrations, and executive trust as the new table stakes. Google's provocation will likely compress Microsoft's renewal timelines and force earlier executive engagement. Analyst in focus, Sanchit Veer Gogia. Sanchit Veer Gogia, or SVG as he is popularly known, is a globally recognized technology analyst, innovation strategist, digital consultant, and board advisor. SVG is the chief analyst, founder and CEO of Greyhound Research, a global, award-winning technology research, advisory, consulting, and education firm. Greyhound Research works closely with global organizations, their CXOs, and the board of directors on technology and digital transformation decisions. SVG is also the founder and CEO of the House of Greyhound, an eclectic venture focusing on interdisciplinary innovation. Copyright policy. All content contained on the Greyhound Research website is protected by copyright law and may not be reproduced, distributed, transmitted, displayed, published, or broadcast without the prior written permission of Greyhound Research or, in the case of third-party materials, the prior written consent of the copyright owner of that content. You may not alter, delete, obscure, or conceal any trademark, copyright, or other notice appearing in any Greyhound Research content. We request our readers not to copy Greyhound Research content and not republish or redistribute them, in whole or partially, via emails or republishing them in any media, including websites, newsletters, or intranets. We understand that you may want to share this content with others, so we've added tools under each content piece that allow you to share the content. If you have any questions, please get in touch with our community relations team at connect@thofker.com.